Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Decorexia, and welcome to the first episode of that Indian Esports Show. In short, this is like a podcast where we are just going to talk about Indian esports. Also, Southeast Asia, we're going to cover it as much as we can because it's very crucial. Ideally, we're going to talk about facts, truths, opinions. We're going to have analysts, journalists, maybe content creators, but mostly professional players to just talk about the game, the ecosystem, and also a way for us to understand what is happening in our region and around our region, because there are multiple esports that you can learn about and realize that exist currently in our gaming industry. In surprisingly, we even have an esports of Rocket League which is existent in India, but I didn't know it exists. So there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games which are free to play, which are not free to play. But yeah, getting into it today is a very special day, and I've made sure that we have some very nice people with us. Today, our guests are Ominous and Aaryanshi. Now, Ominous, per se, everybody knows him from Bleed. He's the data analyst for them, and I think so he'll give a better introduction about himself. And Aaryanshi here is a good friend of mine, and she's a journalist as well. So yeah, Aaryanshi, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi, so my name's Aaryanshi and I've been covering Indian esports for about 3 years since before it was a thing to cover Indian esports. So I predominantly do mobile esports.
That's nice. That's very nice. I think so. India is very dominated by Indian mobile esports as well. So, Ominous, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Ominous. I am a data analyst. I used to write data articles before, but currently I'm like the main analyst at Bleed Esports.
That's nice. That's very thank you for that. And if many people don't know, Ominous works with the Valorant team, so all the scouting and everything is done by him. So there's a lot of, let's just say, for somebody, I have interactions over here, and I've got passions over here with data as well. So it's like a you've got a ball over here. But today, our first topic of the day, which we're going to go into, is something which I think so got Ominous into the Indian esports scene as well. And that's CS:GO, or the revival of CS:GO in India. I mean, talking about it, we just had a tournament which had a prize pool of 2 crores by Sky Sports, which in itself, I was at the event, and I know from a matter of fact, production was nice. It was fun as an event. But as an esports thing, you could see that being honest, in that event, you could see like a maximum of around 300 at peak people at an event. But the whole point of the event was just to put the name of CSGO out. But I think so that's the thing. Ominous, for you, how do you feel this is as a reinduction of CSGO in India?
I think it's a good step because if you look at honestly, like outside, like in Asia as a whole, outside like let's say Mongolia or China to some extent, CS is pretty much dead. So if the revival starts with India, it's good. And it's not just the tournaments. Like recently, DDoS2 started their own Indian domain for CS:GO, DDoS2.in, and hopefully they also get like Valve support in the near future. So I think it's in a good spot right now, honestly.
That's nice to hear, Ominous. If you cannot see right now what's happening, my cat just woke up.
Oh,
It's literally over there. When we were recording the entire time, she was like, "Nah, I'm not going to be seen now." And she's gone back to sleep. Okay, fine. But yeah, getting back to this, literally, see, this is what happens when you have an induction episode. Everything goes bonkers. But yeah, I mean, Dust 2 coming in as a writer yourself, Aaryanshi, how do you feel like that impacts? Because we have seen like a monopoly with certain websites which are there, but now we're seeing like a organization like Dust 2 coming in for just one game. Do you feel that's going to give more opportunity and more exposure?
I think it's going to be a one pit stop for people who just like CSGO and would want data, stats, and in-depth analysis of whatever's happening. So I think it's going to be a good place to be at.
That's nice. I mean, that's nice. The more the merrier. The more writers get an opportunity, I
Yeah.
think so. We all are happy that way. Like, it's an ecosystem which
Yes.
works on it, right? We all feed from each other. But always just talking about Dust 2, like you mentioned it, having an like a website like this come to India, or like having a domain focusing in India, what does that show to like people outside India, like to like the South Asian market or like the European market? That okay, is it going? There's a revival coming back, or it's like just like yeah, they have a website. That's all.
no, usually, like from Valorant point of view, since I've worked with like some websites like Spike, Rib, many of these websites, like since like Valorant is like really popular, let's say in Japan, in Latin America. So like Spike, for example, they have their own specific domains just for the Japanese audience and for the Latin American audience. So everybody wants to invest in like these domains because they know there's like good viewership, because of that. So DDoS2.in, I think it just portrays that it's a growing market and there's potential for a very large audience in India for CS.
I mean, that's actually nice to know that at last we can see this form of like reevaluation, but also with this event happening, the first major LAN event in India. Like, I think so since the post the pandemic, if I'm correct. I'm not, I think so, I am right. Yeah, actually, post pandemic, this was the first event. And seeing people over there, I have written about how LAN events are in India and how crucial they can be, or how companies need to realize that you can actually host a LAN event in India. You have the production quality as well, or like you have the production as well. So do you feel like, Aaryanshi, if you feel like these LAN events for like PC games are simply now just the beginning of it? Like this is like, hey, we can do it, and now everybody else is going to come one after the other.
Yeah, I think so. And I would just like to tell your audience that you and I met at a LAN.
Yeah, that's there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was a Pokemon Pokemon Unite thing. So yeah.
Yeah. And it was also, I think they were playing Valo on the stage.
CS. They were playing CS. It was a
If I'm not
showdown.
wrong.
It was a showdown. If
Oh
I'm
yeah,
correct.
CS showdown. Yeah. So Sky has been big with CS, and with CS2 coming now, they're going outside India. I think it's a good place for people to interact and all of that jazz.
Yeah, and for you, Omnis, how do you feel like seeing LANs coming back into India?
I think it's a good step because like once again I'll just compare it to like rest of the SEA or Asia as a whole, but because in the rest of the SEA there are no like literally it's been 2-3 years I've not heard of any big LAN. So if India is actually hosting, it's quite good. It can pull that way you can even pull viewers and even talent from SEA and the rest of APAC.
I mean, yeah, I mean, to be fair, the funny part was there were actually in this tournament there weren't that many, how to put it, Southeast Asian players who were there. There were Indian players and just Russian players. Like the majority was that. So it caught me off guard because I was like, wait, the only person of name was Pokemon, who was a coach, and he was a coach for God's Reign, who won the tournament. So he's the only one like from Pakistan who was even there, and Pakistan as well have a budding. See, like they have a. I think so. They have an industry over. They have an ecosystem, but I'm not much learned about it. I only know their Tekken scene that well.
They have a mobile ecosystem that's like as similar to ours. They have a huge mobile ecosystem.
Oh wow, that's nice to know. So I mean, you could hope more from there as well. But I think so. These tournaments coming in and beginning in has led to a situation where we are seeing a bit more of tournaments. But getting into tournaments, I would like to go into BGMI. We mentioned mobile games, and this is where it gets crucial. We just had BGMS done. Aaryanshi, how was that event? How was it like being there? Like, were you there at the event? And if possible, what was the experience like even reporting at the event?
I wasn't there, but my team was there, and as the Indian, the IGC says, bhaichara on top, and with rivalries being inside the match and not outside, it was just that. It was a friendly environment, but when they sat to play, they were playing. They were in their element, and after that, it was all pure emotions and friendship.
That's nice. I mean, were there any players who like caught you off guard as such? Like, you were just like, okay, damn, like this team has performed very well. Because we have heard the Soul, the Godlike, the Jeeves.
Yeah.
Was there any team which like caught you off guard when they won? Or like they won a certain game?
Lucknow Giants.
Ooh.
Lucknow Giants.
Why so? What about
They were
them?
good. They are new, but they're players who came from qualifiers and tend to compete against the big names. The ones that you see in the lobby and you shiver.
Okay.
Those guys made it to the top 16. They were in the finals where Soul wasn't there, where Godlike wasn't there. So a team like that coming from qualifiers, sitting between the best of the best is one of more unseen things, but that's the beauty of how Indian esports is.
I mean, exactly. I mean, you get to see, like, I think so. That's the thing which we can talk about, we may get into Valorant. I think so that'll be a huge discussion about the tier 2 or like how players, they're part 2 professional as well. Because I think so in BGMI, because there's so many rosters, so many events which are taking place. I think so BGMS was like, were you ominous? I know you're not much into mobile esports, but were you able to see like the production, like the set of BGMS by any chance?
Yeah, I saw some pictures on Twitter. The only thing was like even these events that are coming up, I don't know, there's like Korean teams invited to the next event or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yep.
Yeah. I just want to see like how the audience compares, because we went to the GXR event last year, the Valorant one,
Oh,
and the event was good, but the thing was there was no audience. Like there's lack of audience, let's just say. So I want to see
Yeah.
like the level of audience or how much seats they fill in the arena with BGMI, because I know BGMI is really popular in India.
I mean, we are talking about LAN events and BGMS and BGMI. And they are actually having, we talk about this, and they are having their official in Mumbai. The BGIS LAN is set to take place in October. Everything says on the 12th, no, 13th, 14th, and 16th, if I'm correct.
12th, 13th, and 15th. 14th is India versus Pakistan.
Ah, yeah,
match.
I was thinking like 15th. Yeah, so India, Pakistan, because of that. But yeah, we are going to see a LAN event which is going to be taking place, and they're having it at a stadium. For many to not know, or many will know this, it had the Pro Kabaddi League over there, and now it's an indoor stadium with a capacity of nearly 8,000 people. Now, to put that in perspective, every single event till now, the maximum footfall you could see in India was, I think so, the Seoul, when they had the Seoul Gaming Fest, we had a situation where there was a lot of crowd. Like, ominous, if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it,
10,000 people.
yeah, they had nearly 10k people coming, and it was bonkers because it was free, and there was some paid thing, there was a VIP thing as well. People sold that out as well, and that clearly showed like the power that how to say, a content group had on a thing. It was not even in Mumbai where they're based, it was in Bangalore, and still it was like packed to the brim. So I mean, BGIS per se is like gonna happen. And Aaryanshi, what do you feel? What you can expect from this event? Because this event, if I'm correct, by the format, it consists of teams who are not known at all and teams who
Yeah.
are very well known. So let us do through it.
Yes. So the format was something like the teams that were known in the community, they played the grind, and over 2,000 teams came in from Indian qualifiers.
Okay.
And now we've boiled down to, I think, 56. And the rounds we have started today. So as we speak, the matches are going on. But I think when we boil down to 16 teams, they will have everybody. The undergods. And if we have teams like the God's Reign, Godlike, and Soul, it's going to be a sold out show. The LAN will be sold out. I'm sure.
Oh my god. Ominous, are you sure about like what's the highest amount of attendance for an event of esports by any chance? Do you know what the number would be around?
I don't know the exact number, but it'll be probably for something like Worlds for League or like ESL 1 Cologne or something.
So how much was like the tentative number that over there which we got to see at those events?
I think something like 8K, 10K, something like that.
Uh,
And these are like for the really big events like IEM Katowice or like ESL 1 Cologne or the major or something.
Wow. The majors, I mean, they are a site. If you have not seen any major, just search up and see how it is because it's fantastically done. One second.
It is.
It is. It's like really well done. Like you sometimes wonder like what on earth is happening at these events. It's so well done. Especially the fans, they get T4s. Now, if you don't know what a T4 is, it's obvious. Would you like to explain what a T4 is to our fans?
T4 is basically like inside a football stadium, the specific group of fans, usually the ultras, they make like these big banners that they pull up inside the stadium. It's like really huge. I don't know, like 50 feet sometimes.
So yeah, so exactly, these banners are like huge ones. So if these huge banners are there at an event, just imagine what can happen. Because if BGMI is expecting 8k, and if we see that, I don't even see 5k. It's like I think it's the first proper BGMI LAN event, right?
Yeah. And from what I've heard is that we are not going to have that row system. We are going back to the PUBG format, which was like have your own cubes. If you've
Oh
seen
wow.
those lands or those videos, so it's going to be a huddle where the players are going to sit and they're not going to be on a platform.
Okay, that's going to be very interesting to watch. As a fan of mobile esports, I cannot wait for this. But getting in for mobile esports, we mentioned this game, and I think so. We are going to go depth into this. Is Valorant, because this game, when it came out in India, it shook. It literally told CS:GO, "Thank you very much. Your days are over," and
Yeah.
it told BGMI, "You're banned. I'm going to take the monopoly." Ominous, from like an outsider's perspective, I know you're not seeing much of the Indian esports scene, but what was your opinion when it first came out, when the game first came out?
Honestly, when the game first came out, I was a die-hard CS:GO fan, and I said I will not play this game. But then, 2-3 months later, it caught on, and I just started playing.
And how has it been for you? Like, how is like this? I think so. It's literally given you and me a job. Like being, it's literally this game has given us a job. Like, yeah, y'all know this game, write about it, and the rest is history. But that makes you also wonder, like, okay, what is there? Like, we go into this. We are currently in the off season. Now, in the Indian side of things, if I had to be blunt, there isn't much happening. There are LAN events which are happening all around by the esports club, which are these LAN events which have like a prize pool of 1.5 lakhs. That's it. I mean, comparative to the big numbers that you're hearing, 13 lakhs, 14 lakhs, it's not that much. But what is providing, I think so, is just providing people a way to interact with their fans and also like for these players to play in front of a crowd. Look, I think
Yes.
that was what is missing out, and I think so that has been lacking, and you can see that happening as well around us. Like,
From that, I can tell you, last year when we attended the GXR event in
yeah,
Hyderabad, with Paper X, Team Secret, and all these guys, it was like our team's first LAN experience, honestly. And after that, we went back to playing in Singapore MYSG qualifiers and everything. Then when we qualified for Ascension in Bangkok, it was a LAN in front of a live audience inside arena, and because we played the GXR event, it actually helped our players a lot. Like, it gave them LAN experience. Some of them had never played on LAN before.
that's nice. I mean, that's what I was having a discussion with a certain professional player, and he told me that, or I give an example of there's this one content creator for people. If you don't know KSI, he is a YouTuber who does boxing and music and a lot of things. But the interesting part about him was he had a fight coming up in a year. It was done. But instead of like working like for a year, he was training. He spent 6 months practicing having concerts all around the world. What he stated was these concerts helped him out to just understand how to be in front of an audience. Be it 10, be it 50, be it 100, or be it 1,000. But you understand how to be in front of an audience and how to react when they're there. Because sometimes the emotions, because of how they react, you tend to get over aggressive or you tend to do a bit too much. How do you maintain your energy? And that helped him out in the fight, which he had later on. But we talk about this, the off season. Ominous, what's your opinions on the current off season, which is happening?
It's really bad. That's all I'll say. I mean, it's really bad. There were supposed to be events, and I'm hearing many of them are cancelled.
Oh wow.
And as for us, I don't think we'll attend any off-season event.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is there any particular reason why? Because I think so. Like you just stated that for your players, the one event had helped you all out. So now why?
It's true, but there's like 2-3 reasons. Some of the events that we wanted to attend, like the Red Bull one,
Yeah.
we were not invited. The Japan one in Red Bull, and the other events, there's some like time clashes scheduled because by December end, everybody's supposed to be in Korea for the boot camp because we need to move there. So there's like paperwork and stuff. So there's like last year we didn't have any of this. Like we just had to play the MYSG
Ascension.
qualifiers. Yeah. So, but this time we need to get like paperwork and stuff done. So there's like a lot of schedule clashes and everything. So instead, like we'll probably just start scrims by the end of this month, and we'll just continue scrimming till December before we fly to Korea.
That's interesting. I mean, we are talking about Valorant, and you can see like people, it's very different from what it seems on the internet. How the world might seem like everything is roses. It's not roses because you have to take into consider logistics and paperwork and stuff like. But we're talking about Valorant. We're talking about Indian Esports. There's one team, global esports, and they just announced they're disbanding the entire roster. Like it's a clean sweep.
Yeah.
And that makes you beg the question, like it makes you ask the question, are they even going to have an Indian player? This is a very common thing which I said. Like, I think so many teams have been called out for this. Like, you are from a region, but you have no players from it. Like, PaperX were given that thing. Like, hey, you don't have any player from your region. Like, what is going on? Or like from your country per se. And global is facing a lot of backlash because of this. Aaryanshi, what you could feel like as like a person who's not into like not that much into Valorant, but you see no Indian players in the top level while having an Indian team. How does that make you feel?
See, I feel bad, okay, because I've seen these players play in the Indian stage, but when it comes to performing with the playing against the top guys, it's a bit tough for them, I think, and it saddens me because one side mobile esports is growing so much, and
Yeah.
on the other side PC is not getting the sort of respect that it deserves. It's a little sad, but I think we'll get there someday.
I mean, as a fan, I know for a matter of fact, I literally tell people 2024 is not our year because we clearly showed like how too many things were left out. And I think so, Omnis, you can give us a better example because you were there at Ascension. And what do you feel could have gone wrong for Orangutan at that event? They didn't win any game, but against y'all, it was the first game. I was at their watch party. I saw the reactions of backroom stuff. But for y'all being at the event, how was it?
Honestly, what I'd say is I see a lot of the orangutan players, especially getting stick online or like playing bad and all that. But if you think about it, right, everyone praises Scars a lot, like the second best team, whatever. But we played Scars. We played 5 maps against Scars, 2 in the group stage and 3 in the finals, and they couldn't take any map from us. We beat them like 5-0 if
Yeah.
you count all maps. And Orangutan actually took a map from us. They took a map even from Damwon Kia, who actually beat us during the group stage. And even if you check their round differentials, it was not so bad, to be honest. They did get 10 rounds in many of the maps they lost. So it's not as bad as how, people paint the picture to be.
I mean that is a very fair thing. I think so. It's like you see the numbers 2-0. Oh, they're bad, or like 0-4. It's bad. But I mean, Ominous, we were just discussing about this a few days ago. Who is one of those talents? Like I think somebody put a tweet out like top 3 talents in India. I know you don't follow much, but there's any talent like you feel like you should get more exposure than they do currently in the Indian scene.
Um, I can't name 3, but I can name 2.
Go for it.
Raw Fuel and this kid called Venkabot.
Oh, okay, interesting. I am surprised. Okay, why Venka? I want to know about Venka.
Raw Fuel, I told you, right? We
Yep.
discussed about him, like, I think his stats. So, and I kind of was like doing some work last year on the Indian scene, and I think he's one of the most underrated players in India.
Okay.
And as for Venka, I see him sometimes, his matches on VLR, like, I'm doing like random spreadsheets with random data for like duelist and all that stuff, and every now and then I see his name pop up in my sheet. So, uh, and I've watched some of his VODs, like a couple of VODs in some of his games. I think he's good.
I mean, there's a very funny story about Venka Bot and me is that his first tournaments, or like the first few tournaments which he played, like the major one where he got recognition was the Global Esports Underground event. And I was casting that event, and the first game of Chilcod I casted, I was like, who is this kid? Like, where does he come from? And I told, sooner than later, this guy is going to be on everybody's lips. We are just watching. Because this guy took if I had to explain it to you, he started sabotaging his own teammate. It became that much. He was just trolling the opponent by killing his own teammate. He's like, I don't want. It got that bad, and I had to tell him like privately, like, hey, buddy, you have to play. You're playing well, but this is a bit too much of disrespect where you're killing your own teammates. There is no form of friendly fire, but he was trying to find any way possible. But ideally, I think so. That's a very like Raw Fuel. I know in India he didn't get the credit that he deserves. Even this tournament in Orangutan, everybody told Antidote was like, oh, what an IGL. RVK was all about the sheriffs. That was in thing. But other than that, it was like, okay, yeah, he can play controller well. When you go into Raw Fuel, it's like, okay, they already have duelers, they have sentinels. Raw Fuel is just there. But in reality, Raw Fuel was helping out a lot more than you realize it.
Yes.
So clearly that is that. But being honest, I think so. If we have to just discuss this one thing. If SK Rossi is not gonna be there in the creme de la creme, do we see him going back into tier 2 and then coming back on top? Ominous, what do you feel?
I think if he is not on the main roster, he should definitely play tier 2. And eventually, I still think he'll get picked up if he does well in tier 2.
I mean, I would ask this thing to you, Aaryanshi. Like, we talked about Indian players and stuff like that. When you watch a game, like as a fan, if you're watching a sport which has an Indian player or like an esports, how happy do you feel or how do you feel your reactions change? Because sometimes we have games where like there is no Indian player who's there, but when there's an Indian player, we start looking at him. So how do you react to that?
So I think for an Indian to go anywhere in any roster is one of the best things that one fan can imagine, right?
Yeah.
And as a Rossi fan myself, I want to see him on the top, but I know for a fact that he has to work hard. So I don't mind seeing him in tier 2 as long as he promises us he'll bounce back.
I mean, I had put this like Ominous, you know the trade system, how the loan system which works in football, where a player goes from one team and goes to another team will get more time to play in a completely different country.
Yeah.
I have not seen this happen in any Indian player going into like my question was this. I was asking this to so many people. Why aren't players ready to relocate to another country itself? Like an Indian player, one they wanting to go into the Malaysia, like the split of Malaysia Singapore. Why not the Taiwan one, the Vietnamese one? Why not even Japan if they have an opportunity? Why?
About the Japan, I don't think the first of all, Japan has language barrier issues.
Yeah.
That's the first one. And about MYSG or like Indonesia. So if you make it to like I'm gonna say this anyway. If you make it to like Orangutan or like let's say any of the VCL SA teams last year,
Yeah.
you would be making way more money than any of these MYSG or Indonesian or Thailand teams anyway. So why move elsewhere when you can just make way more money in India?
I mean, money could be everything, but if somebody wants to learn like a bit more, we have seen exports come to India and they play here. I mean, they get the money. Obviously, they'll get the money because they're an export. But they learn, they go back, they learn something new. Why can't why I don't understand why players over here are a bit shy to go for 1 year, try in another split, learn the different games. Because I think so the coaches they might say a certain different thing, but just being in a different region, you have to adapt a lot to other things mentally. Because in India you have the comfort of I'm at home. Once you're somewhere else, the pressure is on you that hey look, I'm like one of the first imports from India who's been taken. Or like the exports you want to call it. One person who's come to another country. I know for a matter of fact there were players who even shied away from doing that. Like they had offers for China, they said no. And stuff like that. So it's like it kind of made me question like are these players, is it like a player thing or just like hey it's just the comfort of being in India, that's it?
It's a bit of both. Like I told you the money thing and also this level of comfort when you're just playing from home.
And yeah, I mean we have this I think so this podcast has gone quite long, but I think so everybody has understood how is the elements going to be, how are we going to do this in the future. And I am happy thank you for the guests for being here. Y'all have been very much crucial and thank you so much. And yeah, before ending off, if there's something y'all like to share, feel free. Omnis, do you want to share something about your opinions on esports as a whole or Indian esports? What do you expect in the next few months?
I think there should be more tournaments and there should be more tournaments between SA and SEA, to be honest.
Okay.
That's what I have always said. And yeah.
And Aaryanshi, what are your
one more thing. If any org wants to win, they should follow Godspeed's plan.
Oh god, people might not get this meta thing, but I agree with Omnis on this. But yeah, and you were saying.
Yeah, I think for mobile esports is going to be. It has been a brilliant year because BGMI obviously is back. But I think I'm really looking forward to the India Korea BGMI thing. I want to see how Krafton plans that out. And if that's a land, that's something that I will go with a broken back.
I mean, talking about these, I think even Free Fire is doing the same thing, right? They are having like in India, I don't know, India versus who was it? Which one?
No, it's you qualify from India and then you go to Thailand.
Okay, and which other countries are taking part in this? It's an invitational, if I'm correct, right?
It's a global invitation.
Oh wow, okay, so there's that. We can maybe just see. I think so. Right now, if I'm correct, within a few days we're gonna see PUBG PC, the World Championship, and India has a team there as well. So it'll be quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite interesting to
Enigma
watch.
is on, right?
Yeah, they qualified from the qualifiers, so it's going to be interesting to watch. There's a lot happening, and for people who don't know, the Asian games are going on, are continuing as well. Are going to
Yeah.
start, and we have got a roster for Dota 2, League of Legends, FIFA Online, Tekken, Street Fighter 5, and I cannot believe it when I say this. I am shocked that many people don't know this. For the first time, we have esports and these all games being in it. So please do watch it, please do understand it, and please support as much as you can. I was able to interview everybody, every single athlete who was going, because I was like, I want to give exposure. But sooner than later, they will be on this podcast as well. I hope they allow me to have them on the podcast. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you, everybody. And if you do like this, like, subscribe, do whatever you want, share it with your friends, educate people, let everybody know that controversies are the not only thing Indian esports is known for. And hackers, please. Please. Oh, we didn't even talk about hackers. Oh my god.
Oh my. That's another episode.
That's another episode. I think so we should end it here. Thank you so much and bye-bye.